The suspense. As the dust cleared, Zuma coughed as he awoke. Shaking the debris from his now muddied fur, he tried to stand. He yelped, collapsing back onto the ground. "My paw, it's sprained," he said out loud. Looking around in the darkness, he couldn't see much. "Pups? Ryder? Katie?" No answer. He tried his pup tag, but even that wouldn't turn on. He stood from his spot, wincing as he tried not to put pressure on his left hind paw. He took one step, only to trip and fall into a cabinet. He recognized the door slamming as he fell inside. Ryder had told them countless times to not slam the cabinet. He chuckled at the thought before returning to the task at hand. Pushing the door open, he realized why he had managed to fall inside in the first place. The PAW patroller had rolled onto its side. A groan behind him alerted him. His senses already heightened, he prepared himself for the worst, unsheathing his claws. "Zuma?" Marshall groaned. "Marshall." He rushed over to the Dalmatian, aided by faint light coming through a gaping hole. "Are you okay?" "I think so," he replied, rubbing his head. "You?" "Sprained one of my paws, but I'll be fine." "Where's Rubble?" Marshall sniffed the air and his eyes went wide. "We've got to go." Zuma sniffed the air as well, wondering what was happening. "Why do we dash?" He paused as the reality of the situation sunk in. Gas was leaking from the vehicle. "Oh my pup. You're hurt, get out while you can," Marshall said, squeezing out from under a pile of debris. "I'll find Rubble, Katie, and Ryder." "I'm not leaving you," Zuma barked. He ran towards the front, ignoring the shooting pain running through his leg. "Ryder? Katie? Where are you?" Marshall began sniffing around the debris, looking for any signs of the pup. "Come on, Rubble. You've got to be around here somewhere." He picked up his scent and began moving some of the debris. He heard a yelp and stopped. "Rubble?" "Marshall," he whimpered. "Is that you?" "I'm going to get you out," Marshall said. He carefully moved the debris, knowing any sudden movement could hurt him, or worse. "Keep talking, pup." "I'm scared. I smell gas." 3. "We're okay, don't worry." "Where's Ryder and Katie?" Marshall thought for a moment. He's with Zuma. I hope." Zuma had gotten over the sight of seeing a completely destroyed robodog. He saw a hand poking out from a pile. He walked over and licked it. "Ryder. Ryder? Can you hear me?" 1. "Pup? Zuma?" Ryder said. He pushed up on the debris. Underneath him was Katie, who had been knocked unconscious during the fall. Emerging from the debris, he hugged Zuma momentarily before dragging Katie up with him. "Where are the others?" "Need some help back here," Marshall yelled. "There's a gas leak," Zuma said. "I'll take Katie outside and away from Dash," he yelped as another shot of pain raced through his leg. "You sprained it, didn't you? How are you going to dash?" "I'll drag her out. Go save Rubble." With that, Zuma latched onto Katie's shirt and began painfully pulling her through the PAW patroller's emergency exit. Ryder raced to the back, pulling out his pup pad. Turning on the flashlight, he spotted the spotted dog carefully moving piece by piece out from atop of Rubble. "Almost done," he declared. Heat filled the cabin as the engine caught fire. "We don't have enough time," Ryder yelled. He felt around the debris, looking for any bit of leverage. Lifting a part of it, he commanded Marshall to get in and drag Rubble out. Marshall did as he was told, biting down on Rubble's scruff. As soon as they were out, Marshall ran towards the exit, only to be blocked by fire. Miter, he yelled, muffled by Rubble's fur. Ryder picked both pups up and looked down at them. Close your eyes. But Dash. Just do it. They did as they were told, shaking in his arms. On the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. He jumped through the exit, enveloped by flame. As he did so, the PAW patroller exploded, sending a shockwave throughout the sinkhole. They were flung far from the wreck. Ryder instinctively rolled on the ground, feeling the fire burning his clothes. He looked at the pups, but they were fine. He stood, running over to them. Both smiled weakly at him and he smiled back. We're okay, he whispered. But, Zuma said. Where are we? Night had fallen over Adventure Bay. Redpaw had fallen asleep on Ryder's bed, trying to see Ryder, Katie, and the pups. The entire day had taken a toll on the poor pup. Meanwhile, Chase was still outside on the patio. He had watched the sun go down hours ago, and yet, he was still wide awake. He hated not having Ryder by his side. Having lived in a shelter up until he met Ryder, he felt he owed him his life. He hated not knowing where they were, how they were, what they were doing. He hated the unknown. A sound from above disturbed him. Redpaw? He lifted his ears, trying to get a better listen. An ear-splitting howl made him regret. Lowering his body to the ground, he suddenly felt intimidated, almost submissive in a way. Why are wolves' howls so powerful? The howl continued, forcing Chase inside. Panting, he relaxed his ears. That's better. Rocky and Sky were sound asleep, although their ears twitched every now and then. That's what I get for being a Shep. He decided to pay Redpaw a visit, see what was bothering him, although he already had a feeling he knew what it was. Once he reached Ryder's bedroom, the howling had stopped. What Chase found odd was that Redpaw was asleep in the exact same position they had left him in over 3 hours ago. Then, where did that howling? The same howl, louder this time, pounded his ears. Desperately, he covered his ears, looking towards Redpaw. He was completely still, as if it didn't even faze him. Forcing himself against natural instinct, he stood up and walked over to the bed, wobbling a bit. Redpaw, he yelled, shaking the pup. Wake up. Wake Dash, he gasped. Redpaw's paws were glowing. Dream. A small pup ran through the forest, panting, trying to catch his breath. As soon as he made it to the tree line, he stopped behind one, holding his paw against his chest. I think I lost him, he thought. You thought wrong, a deep voice growled. Redpaw yelled as he was tackled to the ground. Now. The voice said menacingly. You're going to pay. He raised his paw. No. The pup screeched. As soon as the paw came down on his stomach, he started laughing. Stop. Stop. PPL please, he giggled. The older wolf chuckled, moving his muzzle down to nuzzle the pup. I love you, he said. Fetty Butte, MIT Dyson 5 Action Erklims du Die Borst 20. Heat filled the cabin as the engine caught fire. We don't have enough time. Ryder yelled. I love you too, Daddy. His nose twitched as he noticed something. Daddy? The father wolf sat on his haunches, pulling the pup close. The pup looked down at his father's paws, noticing the faint glow. You must run, he said. Another game of chase, the pup said enthusiastically. No, son, the father said. Hunters, he growled. The pup's tail fell between his legs. Run to the den. No matter what you hear, do not turn back, understand? A faint gunshot rang out, causing the pup to yelp. Shoo, you have to be quiet. Daddy, I'm scared, the frightened pup said. He trembled in his father's grip. Please, come with me. Plus. I'm sorry, but another gunshot rang out. The father whined and collapsed to the ground. A small dart was stuck in his fur. Daddy, the pup barked. Jigo. The pup teared up as he nuzzled his father before doing as he was told. He ran off in the opposite direction of the hunters. He heard more shots fired into the air. Bang. 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 End dream. Arf. Redpaw barked. He jumped up, only to bump heads with Chase. He collapsed on top of the smaller pup, groaning in pain. Maze, he mumbled through his fur. Chase rolled off of him, pawing his head. Ouch, he said. Sorry, Red. I heard you howling and I thought something was wrong. I was howling? Well, when I came up here, you were still asleep. Something was howling, but your muzzle wasn't moving. It was loud. Redpaw nodded, turning onto his stomach. He curled in on himself. Chase turned his head as he sat up. Something wrong? No, Redpaw mumbled, though his tail twitched. A dog's tail never lies, Chase quote with a smirk, walking around the pup to meet his eyes. What's up? First off, I'm a wolf. Second. He sighed. I don't know. I had this weird dream. 2 wolves I've never seen before were in the woods. 1. Maybe it was you and someone else? Someone you might have met before? No, they were white wolves, complete opposite of me. Redpaw shook his head and instantly regretted it. A wave of pain rushed through his head. He lifted a paw, pausing only to groan. Great, he muttered. Yeah, you were glowing while you were sleeping. Chase perked up. Maybe it was something that happened. But that doesn't make sense. I was trying to find Ryder and instead, I find wolves? I don't know much about visions, so I can't really help you there, pup. Redpaw whimpered a bit, curling back into himself. Chase was about to hop down from the bed when he heard Redpaw whine. Chase smiled, turning towards the pup. Want some company? Redpaw had his ears folded and widened his eyes, giving Chase his puppy stare. Ah, who could say no to that face? Redpaw yawned, wagging his tail behind him. No one, he smirked. Chase chuckled and stretched out on the bed before settling down. Redpaw folded his ears. He watched Chase sigh peacefully and stood up, carefully padding over to the shepherd. He brushed against his fur and lay down, leaning his head on Chase. 1. Chase opened one eye and smiled before shutting his own. Was I this cute when I was his age? I'll have to ask Ryder. He felt his ears droop a bit, remembering that his best friend was potentially trapped in a sinkhole. 1. Activating his collar, he whispered to Rocky. Rock. Psst, hey, Rocky? Downstairs, a green glow emanated from Rocky's neck. Sky, being a light sleeper, noticed the light almost immediately. Rocky, your tag, she groaned from across from him. The mixed breed didn't stir. Rocky. Sky huffed. How can he be such a heavy sleeper? She got up, popped her back turned on her collar. Chase, Rocky's out of it. What's up? Darn, I was gonna have Rocky do something on the computer. I could do it if you tell me how. Okay. He cleared his throat, careful not to disturb Redpaw. Walk up to the control panel and hit the big blue button. Sky gasped. But Ryder said dash. Ryder's not here. I'm in charge. Don't make me do it, Sky, he thought. But dash. Sky. Chase warned. He looked at Redpaw. You know what Ryder said. He said not to press the big blue button, under no circumdash. Chase let out a deep growl, asserting his authority. Just do it. He hated having to use excessive dominance over any team member, especially Sky. Sky, he whispered. You there? He looked down at Redpaw. He was shaking a bit. Chase rolled over, hoping it would comfort him until he finished. I am here. She whispered. Now what? A menu should have popped. One option should say PAW Patroller. Click it. Sky did as she was told. Press track. An error popped up. Chase suppressed a growl, remembering Redpaw. Chase, what is this? Move on. Try Marshall's collar. Please, buddy. Please be alive. It says pinging location. Okay, I've got dash. She gasped at what she saw on screen. What is it? 2. It says they're 200 feet below sea level. Chase's heart dropped. Chase? Chase. He cut the communication, trying to assess the situation. His 4 friends and master had fallen deep into the earth. There's no way they could have. He tried to stop the tears from flowing, but let out an involuntary gasp as they came. It isn't possible. They can't be. He felt something licking his face. He forced his eyes open to see Redpaw, smiling sympathetically. Don't cry, pup, he said. Chase smiled, remembering the day Redpaw came to live with them. He hugged him tightly. Redpaw gave in to the hug, enjoying the affection he had been neglected for so long. Every fiber of his being loved it. They fell asleep that way, embracing each other. Comforting each other, as friends would. Loving each other like brothers should. Redpaw's red paws glowed a deep red throughout the night. The next morning, Chase snuck downstairs without disturbing the wolf pup. He awoke Sky and Rocky and told them his plan. I'm going to go back out there to find them. You can't go alone, Sky said. Yeah, it's dangerous, Rocky said. Look, Ryder, Katie and the others need help. I can track them down. You aren't going alone, Sky said. I can get you there faster in my chopper. Sky, this could be dangerous, Chase said. I don't want you to get hurt. Sky cocked her head while Rocky smirked. I mean, we could get hurt. Nice save, Rocky mouthed, rolling his eyes. Chase, Sky said, slowly walking up to him. He started backing away. If you think I can't handle myself on a mission, then say it. She had backed him up against the elevator, forcing him to sit. Well? Chase stammered. She let out a growl of her own, causing Chase to whimper. Rocky's eyes widened as he watched. Thought so, she smirked. She turned, smacking his muzzle with her tail. She walked over to the slide. I'll refuel. With that, she jumped down. Chase stared off into space, wondering what had happened. Rocky shook his head, laughing. What was that? Never insult a girl's ability to do things, Rocky said. I guess I'll stay with Redpaw. Chase perked up. He's still sleeping upstairs. No, I'm not, a small voice said. He stood near the bottom of the stairs. Where are we going? Rocky and Chase looked at each other. Chase and Sky are going to find Ryder, Katie, and the other pups. What about us? How can we help? His tongue lolled out of his muzzle as he panted excitedly, tail wagging. Once again, Chase and Rocky looked at each other. You two, Chase began, are going to check on Alex and Mr. Porter. Redpaw's tail dropped. You don't want me to come, he said in a low voice. No. No. It isn't that. Chase said. Look, pup, someone has to check on them, and since you helped us find him, I figure you're the best pup for the job. He looked to Rocky for support. Why, yeah. I mean, he hasn't seen you in a while either. He probably needs some cheering up. Rocky smiled assuringly. Redpaw smiled as well. Okay. Let's go. He ran towards the slide and slid down. Rocky and Chase chuckled with relief. Hey, Rocky said. You better call if you need anything, or if you find them. Whichever comes first. Of course. The two hugged. Make sure you don't let him out of your sight. And watch out for nightmares. They really freak him out. Rocky nodded. Every pup met downstairs, ready to depart. After saying their goodbyes, Sky and Chase took off. Rocky was able to track Sky's helicopter, so he would more than likely know when they arrived. However, they had another matter to attend to. Already talked to Mr. Porter. Alex is excited to see us. He hopped into his truck and Redpaw followed, his paws scurrying inside. You know, he said, turning the engine over. We might have to build you your own rig. Really? Redpaw squealed in delight. One day, Rocky said. Redpaw nuzzled his chest before sitting back in his seat. He even buckled himself in without being told. Rocky smiled. Growing up already. He drove off towards town. Why did Ryder and the others go? Redpaw asked on the way. What's out there? Rocky didn't know whether he should tell the wolf that he was the reason. He didn't want him to think he was to blame for them being lost. He settled on a simple answer that would no doubt raise more questions, but nonetheless, would be enough information for now. Answers. Ryder carried both Katie and Zuma in his arms. You pups are sure you smelled something over here? My arms are killing me. We've told you we can take a break, Marshall said. How much further? Sniffing the air, Zuma replied. Less than a mile. Put us down before you break your arms. With a heavy sigh, he lay Katie down on the ground, careful with her head. Marshall took the opportunity to re-examine Zuma's paw. Nothing too bad. Needs ice though. Doubt we'll find anything down here, Zuma said. I don't even smell any water down here. A loud growl was heard, causing everyone to jump in fear. Sorry, Rubble said. I'm hungry. Everyone giggled, realizing there was no threat. Sorry, no food till we either find some or get out of here, Ryder said. Marshall stood up, rushing a few feet away, looking off into the cave. Someone's coming. What? Who? Marshall shook his head. They smell familiar, but I can't put my muzzle on it. The footsteps grew louder and louder, approaching the group. Marshall stood defensively, as did Rubble. Zuma barred his teeth, sitting in front of Ryder and Katie. A group of men wearing lab coats came around the bend, seemingly shocked to see a boy and girl, along with 3 dogs. What in heavens is going on here? A voice said. Ryder could place the voice, but he knew he had heard it before. We fell down a sinkhole as we were driving through. There were 3 lab coats. 2 women and 1 man, from which the voice came from. He looked at Ryder, as if studying his face. His eyes widened as he realized something. Our Ryder, he asked. How do you know my name? Ryder asked. Because, he said. I used to work with your father.